next hour.
45
So
minutes.
let's go ahead and get started. Let's.
Yeah, let's move it right on.
Okay.
Just thought I'd share something with you. I found this quote uh, from Carl Jung. One of the main functions of organized religion is to protect people against a direct experience of God.
Oh,
Ah, good.
Let's read that to you again.
please read that again. I'm muting everybody, so your responses.
One of the main functions of organized religion is to protect people against a direct experience of God. Now, Brad, what we've been doing is following a line of identifying God. Whenever you hear God, substitute the word energy. Okay? And I think you'll begin to understand spirituality better. Paul Tillich, who was master theologian of the 20th century, started shifting the way we deal with God. He said, God is the answer to your heart's deepest longing. So he's one of the first people to start talking about how God feels and saying that God is a magnetic kind of force that draws us to it. So when you feel that longing, that hunger towards life, imagine there's something on the other end that's drawing you towards it. In other words, that other end of the rope is not just dangling off. For a centripetal force, there's a centrifugal force. There's an equal matching response. And so that thing that is drawing us is what the ancients called God. Now, when you begin to think, he said, God is also the ground of our being. Well, what is the ground of everything that exists? It's energy. Everything that exists is that electromagnetic continuum, which we call the universe, which coheres into a universe. It's the magnetic quality of the energy that keeps it being a coherent entity instead of just disintegrating into meaningless chaos. So as we're beginning to this exploration, what we've been doing is seeing how we experience energy in our body. Well, we start by experiencing energy as sensation. And so as we begin to attune our awareness to our bodies, we begin to have become aware of how the energy is moving and flowing in our body, which is the first of the koshas, the first sensing of the body, of the energies in the body, is as a physical body. Then we began to look the past 2 weeks at the breath and what the impact of the breath is as energy in the body. How does the inhale feel different from the exhale? How does energy move? We began to explore last week with moving, visualizing and feeling that increase in energy with the inhale and begin to feel the movement of energy out with the exhale, which is what we energy workers use to move my energy into Linnell's energy field to begin moving stuck energy. Okay, so.
And could we also use the word spirit?
Yes, spirit. So spirit is energy. God is spirit. Begin to think not in terms of, and this is part of what we call the schools that are non-dualistic. It means there's no us separate from God, but everything is sacred because everything is energy. So this is a coherent system, non-dualistic system, which people like Ramana Maharshi espoused, and I think the Buddhists did too. So we're going to take a little different way of relating to meditation. This is again the article that I've been following. It says, in the classic Buddhist tradition, meditation is deeply somatic, deeply rooted in the physical body. It's fully grounded in sensations and sensory experience. in feelings, emotions, and so on. Even thoughts are related to the body as bursts of energy experienced in the body rather than non-physical phenomena that disconnects us from our body.
Oh, read that sentence again.
Okay, even thoughts are related to as somatic as bursts of energy experienced in the body rather than non-physical phenomena that disconnect us from our body. So in other words, we tend to think of ourselves as something different from our body. They're not, okay? As a matter of fact, the Buddhists talk about the thoughts that think themselves. And that's the hardest thing for me to get across to my people. The thoughts you think you're thinking, your brain is thinking for you. There is no intention to have this thought.
Right.
You don't think, I'm now going to think about what I ate for breakfast. You just find yourself thinking about what you ate for breakfast or find yourself worrying. So unless there's an intention, you can have intentional thoughts.
Sure.
But the vast majority of our thoughts are the result of our body running through mechanical processes, releasing energy and discharging energy in the form of thought. So we're going to begin to establish a different relationship, as it were, that begins to bring the body and the mind together. Once you posit that there's a mind-body split, which runs right down the middle of all Western thought, you can never put that back together, okay? If spirit is different from matter, then there is no unity, okay? The minute you begin to say, you are energy, then you can say, I am God. But I'm not God in the sense that we've traditionally meant God, which means I rule the universe, pull the strings, and decide who dies in a plane wreck and who doesn't. No, it's not God in that sense. It's that if I'm a drop of the ocean that's been thrown loose, I'm qualitatively no different from the ocean. Does that make sense? But that drop is not the same thing as the ocean.
Or a star, or a
Does that make sense?
stardust.
So I'm not in that level of immensity, but qualitatively equally valuable and qualitatively of the same substance, being of one substance with the Father. Damn, boom, let that hit. When you really understand yourself as energy, then you are of one substance with God. You follow that line of thought? Okay. So there's no miraculously blasphemous statement about that, but there's no fucking grandiosity in that either. You see the people are running going, oh, I am divine. Yeah, get off your fucking high horse. You know, so's a grain of sand, so's everything else around it. That's not making a statement about your value. It's simply making a statement about the nature of your origin. Okay, so he goes on to say, in the most ancient Buddhist texts, meditation is a technique for letting go of the objectifying tendency of thought. Okay, the thought is not a thing; it's a process. It's energy moving, being sensed by the body as thought. Can you follow that? Okay. I sense light, the energy of light, as color. I sense the movement of energy in my body as thought. It's not a thing. Show me your thought.
Mm-hmm.
We, as Joseph Campbell said, we keep reifying processes. We turn them into nouns. Weather is not a noun. Okay? There's a Native American language, I think it's Navajo, that only has verbs.
So thought is not a noun.
Thought is not a noun, right? Feeling is not a noun.
Yeah,
feeling is a chemical reaction between neurotransmitters in your body. It's an electrical discharge. It's a chemical discharge. There's no thing there called anger. So let's have some questions on this, because this is fundamental to where we're going now.
In the meditation.
In the meditation, well, in the future meditations
well, okay.
too.
Yeah.
is to begin to see our experience not as something we're trying to gain or a state we're trying to reach. That's where we're going to go in there, but rather as a deepening of our awareness of how our body senses energy.
Whether it's a physical sensation or a thought.
Or a thought, or the feeling of the breath in the body, or an emotion, or feeling.
It's all grist for the mill.
It's all the interplay of our energy with the energy of the universe. So mindfulness means opening up the lenses, widening the lenses of our perception so that we're not stuck in the conditioned forms that the mind has, which filter out 95% of what's going on in our body. We literally go and live up in our heads and can't even feel our feet, many of us, okay? And so when I say that there's a universe inside, which is as big as the universe outside, and it's complex, and it's very and it's fascinating, a rich world of experience. That's not just fancy talk, okay?
So any comment?
Any comments or questions
about that concept?
Okay, now I want to get into a different spin on this here. Okay. Okay, so what we're doing is letting go of the objectifying.
Okay, hold on. Did Robert have something?
Oh, no. I'm just saying, you're trying to rearrange our whole fucking world.
Yes, thank you. It's like I say to people, if you think you get this, you don't. You really don't.
Yeah.
Okay, because if you're getting it with your head.
Yeah.
And then you're still in the same place you were.
Yeah, I've got lots of questions. So if I don't ask your question, feel free. Just jump right in.
Okay.
Okay.
One thing I'd like to add or comment on, way back in the eons of time when I was in high school, my physics teacher tapped on his desk and said, "This is all just moving energy, moving atoms. They're all just moving all around." And of course, I had to ask, well, what happens if all the atoms move in the same direction at the same time? And he said, well, the desk would jump. And it occurred to me just now that these people, who bend forks and make things move all by themselves, maybe they have the capacity to harness the energy so that all the atoms move in the same direction at the same time.
Okay. Now, I don't say this to be critical, but that is exactly the way ego thinks.
Well, he did have a big ego.
Yes, that there is an I who is going to move something instead of me being moved by the universe, which is where we're trying to go, okay, is that the ego immediately grasps and goes, how can I use this so I can direct things in the direction I want them to go? So that subtle thing, and that's kind of where we're going in the reading, that tendency to want to make it into something and make it do something is different from trusting and allowing it to do me.
Good one.
So it's a lot like being up in your head when you're doing your love making and trying to make something happen. How well does that work? As opposed to totally surrendering to the flow of energy between you and just being open to what happened. I mean, not to try and get a cheap get, but that's one of the most powerful ways, or falling asleep. These are things that we allow. You can get in bed, but you can't make yourself
make it happen.
Okay. So we are learning the science of allowing, of surrender, of trusting that flow of energy, that it has an intelligence. And we're moving into trusting the intelligence of your body. that your body knows how to heal. And we're a culture of anxious people who are trying to get our bodies to heal. And the more we try to get our bodies to heal, the farther away from health we are, because we're dumping more and more adrenaline and cortisol into our systems
And pills.
and pills that our bodies don't recognize, and then expecting and going to environments that aren't healthy and expecting to be able to heal. So that's, you see, there's fundamental differences in the way this plays out. Okay, so I haven't even gotten to the second paragraph. Often we have an ideal of what meditation should be, what we like about meditation, which might be some experience that we've had somewhere along the way. And we actually end up trying to use our meditation in a way to recreate that particular state of mind. We try to recreate the past instead of stepping forward and out into the future. To put the matter in bald terms, we end up using meditation as a method to perpetuate and increase our disembodiment from the call and the imperatives of our actual life. So this is one of the Buddhist hells, which is false heaven, which is the world of Lululemons and retreat centers. It's where I'm going, trying to have an aesthetic experience, a pleasant experience, a peaceful experience, an uplifting experience, an expansive experience, a connective experience, trying, materializing spirituality, something to feed the ego, which is saying this is a more desirable state than where I am right now, which is the way we run away from right now, okay? Does that make any sense? I have to go to a retreat center because I can't experience what I want to experience right here in my bedroom. Wrong! I hope you're getting this, okay? Now, this is what the psychologist John Wellwood calls spiritual bypassing. We want to bypass the crud. We want to bypass the pain in our bodies. We want to bypass our PTSD. We want to bypass our depression. We want to bypass our anxiety. We want to bypass our irritable bowel syndrome.
Our thoughts.
We want to bypass our intrusive thoughts. We want to bypass all of that and get to a pleasant state.
All right, can I interrupt, please?
Yep.
I and others in the room have taken what you just said validly and get it. But the opposite side of that is some of us do go to retreat centers, including you. So can you give, so you're not just dogging going to retreat centers.
Okay, you can do the same things and get merit from it and not get merit from it.
Because you go to retreat centers.
What?
Because you go to retreat centers.
Mm-hmm. Right. But not to have an experience.
Okay. Then can you expand on that?
Okay. So
it's a connection, I think, first of all, with people.
You know, in some ways, that's a really good question. So the point is, do I feel a need to go to a retreat center? Is there this sense of urgency that, oh, I've got to get to a retreat center, or that anything different is going to happen? No.
So it's not what you do, it's the way you do it.
Exactly. And one of the common anchors, once you establish it, okay, so one of the big buzzwords now is about finding a safe place to heal. Okay, we got all this trauma. We need a safe place to heal. Where we're going is your body is the safe place to heal. All right, so let me finish this and then we'll come back to it, and hopefully it's going to make more sense.
I know, I have a comment. So one reason we go to retreat is to hear Father Kennedy's teachings.
Yeah.
So there's something that I can't get here in the bedroom that I totally enjoy.
Well,
and the connection with people.
And there's
I think maybe part of it is like we can easily use retreat centers just like we would use a drug.
Yes, and there is an
Right.
addiction to spiritual retreat.
We're trying to get, if you
Trying
go
to
to
take
a retreat center, if you go to a retreat center to fill a void, to take something from the outside to fill a void within, as opposed to going to a retreat center
As a space.
as a space to do the same
thing.
thing you do at your house.
No different from going to the Norton or
Mm.
come down
Being
here to
in
the
nature.
ocean. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, it's like flavors of energy. And I think there's when you begin to look at the nature of spirit is curious. Curious likes getting out to what's unknown. And I think that's part of it, is just following that attraction where it leads you. And that's how you find your power spots, as Don Juan would say, is find spots that resonate with your energy. So some of it is going places to be filled, but you may not be filled there.
If
So
you're going
it's
in a
a
seeking.
yeah, being in a seeking mode, on
Mode.
walkabout. Yeah, another way of talking about it. So let me try to get through this, because we may not even get to meditate today. Okay, so Wellwood calls it spiritual bypassing. Meditation becomes a way to perpetuate self-conscious agendas and avoid impending, perhaps painful and fearful developmental tasks, always arising from the darkness of our bodies that are never necessary, which are nevertheless necessary for significant spiritual growth. Chogyam Trungpa Rinpoche calls it spiritual materialism, using spiritual practice to reinforce existing neurotic ego strategies for sealing ourselves off from our actual lives in the pursuit of survival, comfort, continuity, and security. When we use meditation in such a way, we aren't really going anywhere, just perpetuating the problems we already have. No wonder when we practice like this over periods of decades, we can end up feeling that nothing fundamentally is really happening, because it isn't. Okay? I'm not certain that our Asian teachers, who come from very different cultures, well, I don't need that paragraph. Consider, for example, the meditation technique that is so central in the text and so often given to modern meditators. Pay attention to the breath at the tip of the nose, either feeling the in-breath or the out-breath, attending the breath there in some other way. For a fully embodied person, this is an effective technique by which the practitioner can make his or her journey. But for someone who's somatically disconnected and habitually abides almost entirely in his or her head, using a technique that requires attention on the nose will reinforce the tendency to remain entirely invested in the head and to continue to be unaware of the rest of the body. If we are already out of touch with our body, its sensations, and its life, carrying out a practice that involves attending to the breath at the nostrils often just perpetuates and even reinforces our disconnection. To those of us meditating such a disembodied state are locked into a cycle and genuinely trapped in our practice. Oh crap. Okay, so we are running out of juice.
But we're going to go ahead and meditate just in case the laptop dies.
So what we're going to try and do today,
Try. Let go of the word try.
yeah, try, aspire to, I'm trying to replace it with aspire, no effort, okay, is, and I was trying to get this across to Linnell. First, when we sit down and we start with the breath and feel the body, we're bringing awareness into our body. So when I say awareness meeting things, the fact that you are consciously aware, your body aware of itself as a field of energy, as a field of sensation, is the first thing that we're going to try to become aware of. Once we've established that, we're going to move to feel the impact and sensation of the breath and how the breath is impacting the body, which we've done the past 2 weeks. Okay. Now what we're going to do is to begin. So mindfulness begins holding balls in the air, not through effort, but by expansion. So we're just going to stretch our awareness, just like you can be aware of this, then be aware of the room, then be aware of the park that you're meditating in. I'm expanding outward, no effort, just as we say, zooming out. We're going to zoom out and experience thoughts and feelings, emotions as they emerge, and feel how they impact your body. Okay? There is no difference. Your anger is being felt in your body. It starts in your body. By the time you've called it anger, you've already conceptualized and objectified it. So when Buddhists talk about catching it as early as possible, they literally mean feel the beginning of the tightening in the gut. And don't let it get to, oh, what is that feeling? Why am I angry? Where does that, all that bullshit we get into in psychoanalysis, instead of just sitting with the sensation's what we're running away from. Does that make sense? Why do I need to understand where it came from? So I can prevent it from coming back. Because I don't like it, it's uncomfortable. Well, there's a different solution, which is quit fighting the sensation and see what happens.
So instead of why, it's sort of like what?
Yeah, what is happening?
That?
And allowing what's happening to emerge, okay? Without judgment, this is what we mean. And feeling that tendency to resist what's unpleasant and to pursue what's pleasant. And if we can begin to see that, that's enough for today, okay? So we don't have a gong, so just close your eyes. Oh, we do have a gong, excuse me.
If I can find it quickly, I will. A virtual gong. There we go. Maybe. Just go ahead and start.
Just close your eyes or leave them open if that doesn't distract with your being present. Just allowing your awareness to begin to detach from the past and the future. Detach from its agenda. Just allowing yourself to feel the present moment and the energies of the present moment. When you begin to notice that you've disconnected and that you've become lost in a sensation or lost in thought, instead of resisting it, pushing it away, or clinging to it, allow yourself to soften. Simply noting the resistance as resistance. No judgment. Resistance is part of what our bodies are designed to do for protection. Allowing yourself to settle into the even flow or uneven flow of the breath. Letting your awareness be like a light. Allowing it to illuminate the sensations that are already present in your body. Doing a check, what are the sensations at the top of my head? No effort. Just allowing the sensations to reveal themselves by letting your awareness move into this area gently. And if you're having a migraine, there's a pushback, feel the resistance, no different from poles of a magnet repelling each other. But just soften. Allowing the resistance to be there, the sensations to be there in the same field of awareness, without choice. How's your jaw? What's going on around your eye? And that annoying little muscle to the side of your nose. Befriending your body by opening to it, softening to it. Moving into the chest and the arms. Sometimes coming home to the body, there would be a deepening sense of relaxation, almost a sigh of relief. Like, phew. Sometimes it acts like a petulant child that's been ignored. Soften to that. And just like watching the ocean or a stream, not trying to control what you're aware of, but allowing it to flow, to unfold as it will in this moment, not worried about where it's going. Moving into the lower body, the abdomen, hips and legs. Are you clenched? Are you grasping at the earth? Are you trying to get off of it? Or are you resting in it, embraced by it, feeling its support and connection? Remembering when the Buddha was challenged as to what qualified him for enlightenment, he just touched the earth. The earth claims me, let her claim you. So just zoom out a little bit and begin to connect all the dots that are naturally connected, feeling the whole body as a field of energy. Radiant energy, not a metaphor. Feeling those subtle tingling sensations. Your very aliveness. How do you know you're alive? Shit, you feel it. Feel yourself alive in this moment, vibrant. And within this field of energy, begin to sense the breath moving. Perhaps feeling how the breath softens hard spots, finding places that resist a deep breath. Letting the breath soften the ribs and the intercostal muscles all the way to the throat. Each breath a gentle massage all the way to the floor of the pelvis. Can you feel your breath in your perineum? Now widening awareness in the whole body, the breath in the body, and now let's bring in thoughts and feelings. They've been there the whole time. Now just inviting them to join the party. And against the backdrop of the breath and the body, begin to feel the shifts of energy. The minute there's a movement of thought or emotion. If fear emerges, how does fear feel? Not what caused it. Where is it most pronounced in my body? If I'm experiencing loneliness, What is the actual movement of energy in my body that I'm calling loneliness? It doesn't call itself loneliness. Is it an emptiness? Is it a clenching? Is it a restlessness? Is it in my head? Is it in my gut? Is it in my hands, my jaw? Watch the beginning of thought as thought emerges. Perhaps you may catch a moment of no thought. How does that feel? Just like clouds moving in on a clear day, when it moves in, thought comes. What changes in your body? And feel the response of the body as you experience the natural impermanence of thought and emotion. As it disappears, how does the energy feel when it's gone? Not thinking the process, but noting it directly. And if you get caught up in a pronounced loop of thought, or if you get caught up in an intense emotion, come back to the body, anchor in the body, anchor in the breath. Not avoiding what you are feeling, but recognizing the tendency of habit to get trapped in the loops. And take comfort in the fact that you can move back to the body, back to safety, back to the breath. Okay.
Bart, this reminds me of something I read in a meditation a couple of days ago. It said that the ancient, or the spelling of the ancient word for God, and I think they were talking about the Hebrew God, Yahweh, and the way it was spelled in the reading was in English would be, I think it was YHWH, I think.
Yep.
But according to this reading, I'm not I'm not a scholar, but according to this reading, the correct pronunciation, if it was pronounced correctly in the ancient Hebrew, the sound of the word would sound like the inhale and the exhale of breath.
Ah,
And I thought, my God, that was 2,000 years ago, and they're owned to this idea of breath as a mediating mechanism between the outer universe, the inner universe, or it could be taken that way.
Okay.
Awesome.
Except I think it's almost backwards. It's not
Okay.
like, oh my God, they were on to it and they're as advanced as we are. They
We're
actually in tune with it and living it, whereas we become so detached, we're having to learn how to reconnect.
there you go. Okay, thank you.
We have forgotten everything we used to know. It's the same with being a kid. I mean, recreating in miniature what's happened culturally. Because as a kid, you were connected. No one had to teach you how to be spontaneous or feel the energy around you or to play or to know that your body wanted to move in outside and wanted to enjoy sunlight or wanted to stay in the pool even though you were turning blue. You know, you were just drawn to it. You went and did it. So we're having to unlearn all our wisdom. So I think that wasn't that something that Maharshi said? Someone went to him and said, I want to study with you. He said, no, you come here to unlearn. You don't come here to learn.
Yeah, thanks.
Yep. Okay. So we're liable to kick out at any minute. So if you've got a question, Woody.
I thank you for challenging us in maybe this practice of mindfulness that has taken us a little deeper.
Well, thank you. We tried to have this conversation over dinner last night. It did not go well. Any of you who are teachers know if you can't teach it, you don't understand it. So thank you all for providing me with a platform to try and.
Well, and Bart's answer was so good when I said, why do we need to do this, to focus on the thoughts? And what it came down to is this is a course on mindfulness. So we can't abandon the mind is basically, what his answer was. I know in yoga, I say, don't abandon your body. And, here in meditation and mindfulness practice, don't abandon your mind. So often we're taught to, I'm off on thought, come back to the breath. That doesn't mean you abandon the mind, the thoughts. Does that mean?
Right. So we're increasing our window of tolerance. All right. There's a natural tendency in our nervous system to constrict against what's uncomfortable. So to stay open as long as we can to teach our bodies, just like you do that last rep in the gym, the first 15 are to get to the 16th. Does that make sense? Because it's that one that makes you shake, which is where you grow. So when you're sitting in your meditation and you're up against a sensation that there's a strong pushback, as we learned from Sharon Salzberg, tolerate it as long as you can and then leave it. Too much pain shuts you down again. So why are we doing this? Why do we suffer? That's what Buddhism answers. That's the question. Why are you suffering? Because I don't like what's happening right now. Okay? So what that means is the minute that resistance establishes itself, I go to war with life.
Or I don't like this emotion.
I don't like this emotion.
Like this storyline. Or I don't know.
Or I want this one. I want something more pleasant to be happening. It's like channel hopping. Teaches us there's something more pleasant. If I just keep hopping, I'm going to find something that's more pleasant than this moment. Unfortunately, life doesn't give us channels. And so so what it gives you is a capacity to flow effortlessly with whatever's going on in your life. You got cancer? Is that a big deal? Is that something to piss and moan about and feel victimized by? Or is that simply what's emerged today that I deal with? Is any different than cooking? Is it any different than
Yes.
driving my car? Not qualitatively. Yeah, it is different, but in terms of my relationship to it, can I relate to it skillfully so that I'm not creating suffering, which is what I do that makes it worse. So
I
maybe
think I was just gonna say, I think there is some and I don't know what it is. There is some very interesting value to meditating or to trying to stay present when you are in pain.
yes.
Well, because because I mean, of course, I don't like the migraine, and I mean, I physically don't like it. My body reacts. I get nauseous. But I'm kind of wondering, like, so am I just mentally reacting to what my body is doing? Like, do my thoughts really care whether I have a migraine or not? Does my head care if I have a migraine, or does only my body care if I have a migraine?
And does your body care until your monkey mind senses it as a threat? So remember, your monkey mind 24/7 looking for potential threats to your safety. That's what it's dedicated to. Unfortunately, it has been so conditioned and sensitized that we're monitoring every change as a potential threat. And that starts a whole storyline of trying to get rid of the threat. But the threat only exists at the level of the monkey mind. I just encourage people, look at your cat when your cat's sick or when your cat gets hit by a car or something. Does it then go, damn, my leg, look at my leg, I'm dying here. Oh, I'm in so much pain. Oh, feel sorry for me, take me in the house, get me to a hospital. No, it doesn't do any of that stuff. What does it do? It goes and lays underneath a tree and gets in a safe place and doesn't move around, doesn't expend a lot of energy, calms its ass down so it can heal. It's quiet. Yeah. What do? Run around looking for a diagnosis, trying to find something we can take to make it go away. There's no trust in the body, and all the movement happening now in holistic health says, calm your ass down. Your body is a self-healing mechanism that's evolved over millions of years. It knows how to heal itself. One of the first people I talked to about cancer says your body fights cancer all the time. It's always generating cancer cells, but you've got an immune system that fights the cancer. What's happening is that as you weaken and age, that immune system breaks down
And becomes stressed.
so it doesn't.
Okay.
I
No,
guess
we lost them.
I guess the batteries went out.
Yep. Are they going to try to come back at this point, do you think, or no?
I'm
We've been left to our own devices. Now what?
That idea.
We're like
That
fourth
just hit me, Nancy,
graders in the
batteries went
classroom.
out.
We're like fourth graders in the classroom. The teacher's gone, and now we can all talk.
We can start throwing spitballs.
Let's
We
talk
can
about
start throwing
fart.
spitballs.
Oh.
The big raspberry.
Well, if I
Oh.
could entertain us for a few minutes while they are
Perfect class.
off in Neverland. If you
What
have
happened to their batteries?
any of us, their batteries died. We've all been around young children, very, very young, who do not yet have speech. And we're trying to teach them to identify things. So, you pick up a bottle and you say bottle. And that's how children learn, is you're showing them how to speak to identify things. And then you move into the 2-year-old cries and you say, tell me what's wrong. Does something hurt somewhere? Are you missing your friend? Are you disappointed? And you start teaching them to identify with words different feelings that they have, both emotional feelings and physical feelings. So we go through this process when we're growing up of learning to use words, learning to use our minds to identify things. And then lo and behold, we get to where we are now as adults, and we have learned this so well that it's very hard for us to stop doing that, so that you can just sit and feel. You can meditate, or not even meditating, you're just taking a walk outside and you're feeling terrific because the sky is blue, the mountains are majestic, and it's just, nature is so beautiful. But what do? We have to put words to it, right? I have to say, oh gosh, the sky is so blue today. The wind is just so calm. I have to put words to it that block my sensation, that make it a lot more difficult for me to just stand there and feel and connect with my feeling. So we need to kind of go back to when we were babies.
I do too.
And we didn't have words for things yet. And the miracle of being babies or being very young children is that you can experience things without language because you don't have the language yet.
Yeah, I totally get that.
Learn, if we can learn to kind of go back to that, it would really be a tremendous benefit.
Hey, Bart and Linnell, the class
Okay.
is with you.
I love
That's
it.
good.
I love
Y'all
it.
are still there.
Thank you. We had to come back on Bart's phone.
Yeah, we went on a little head trip and disconnected from our body.
You left us to our own devices.
Yeah, look at what happened.
Don't do
No,
that.
we were talking about you.
Oh, good.
And
good.
it wasn't good.
That's what it's all about. I want people to talk about me.
Spitballs were being thrown. There were spitballs being thrown.
No, good. So I know that you're probably have a lot of unanswered questions. What I'm going to ask is that you write them down.
Because we'll continue
And let's continue this dialogue.
next week. This
Exploration. So
yeah.
this is going to be the theme for a while. It's going to be experiencing thought and emotion, which are the next kosha, as energy and how it impacts the body. Okay. So any questions before we go, realizing we no longer have a full screen?
And thank you for hanging in there. I love this group. Yeah, go ahead.
Annie, for that reminder of being able to get back to our child self and let go of the words which are connected to the thoughts that are connected to the ego driving it. And get back to just feeling what we feel.
That's exactly right, Tom.
Perfect.
The words are connecting us to the thoughts. But if we can just kind of imagine being a 1-year-old child and not having the language yet, and just standing there marveling at the beauty of the day, marveling at how nice the wind feels on you with no words. That's where you can lose the thoughts and really appreciate how you're feeling.
Yeah.
Great one.
Thank you for that, Jan.
Great extension on that.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Real quick,
thought,
Bart.
Nell and Bart, I thought I'd just entertain everybody while you were gone.
Okay.
Oh, you did better than
Yeah,
that.
you were all right on when we came in.
Yeah.
It's
Right where
good.
we-
Yeah, I want to go
we
back
need
to
to go.
what Matthew was. I'd like to go back to what Matthew was saying about, why do you go to retreats? Gina and I had to miss the last 2 weekends, and it was a real big negative in our energy. We come to the Sangha, this is our retreat, because of all the positive energy we get here. So for us, it's really important to put our physical selves, our mind, in an area where we can be safe. And I mean, for us, this is our retreat. So it's very
Right.
important.
Thank
Okay.
you for that.
I'm glad you brought the dog.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
He was feeling it today.
Really? Yeah.
Okay.
Anyways,
Dale.
Yeah.
Now,
yes.
Here's how to avoid that becoming idolatry. So it's not bad that it functions that way. It's bad that it blinds you to the fact that you carry that place in yourself. This place does not create that.
This Sangha.
It simply awakens that in you.
Yeah.
So those neural pathways, this is what a glimmer is. A glimmer is remembering that I can go to that place in my head and my body will respond as if I'm there. So when you have what's called a puja table, you have your teacher there.
It's like an altar
and
with pictures
that awaken your remembrance of the sacredness of it. Awakens those parts of your body that know you're sacred. Okay, does that make sense?
And safe.
And safe. Yes, that feeling of safety, but carrying that sense of sanctuary. The kind of ultimate goal is to realize it's not out there; it's in here. And that's why it can't be lost. That's when you get the security. So for years, I would remember my therapist holding me, and that would bring back that sensation of her arms around me, and her warmth and her non-judgmental energy. And I could relax even on an airplane, skipping like a bouncing stone. I could relax and feel that sense of safety. Now I don't need the image. Now I'm let go. That's what they mean by let go of the raft. Once you get to the other shore, you can let go of the raft that got you there.
Good.
Make sense?
But that's a great, I think, answer for why we go to retreats. This connection that we have that creates the safe, sacred space and reminds you.
Right.
And Dale, you can develop that feeling that you have when you're in this Sangha. You can develop that feeling, remember that feeling, so that when you need it, you can say to yourself, okay, I'm going to go to my safe place now. I had a nurse who used to say to me before she took my blood pressure, she said, go to your happy place. And for years, I kept thinking, where is my happy place? Where am I supposed to go?
Yeah.
Until I realized that I could create that sensation in myself. And I think you put your finger on it, you and Matthew, that is developing the feeling of a safe space. And that is one of the values of being in a Sangha and going to a retreat, especially if it's a week-long retreat. It really reinforces the sensation of the safety that you can develop within yourself. And then you go forth into your day with the confidence that you can do this for yourself.
Yeah.
I want to add to that. There's also, I think, a lot of value in just remembering not just, the feeling that we all have, when we are together, but I have been having, well, it's been a difficult year, if we're being honest, but the last couple of weeks have been particularly just horrible. And I realized the other day, I don't know, I had said something very hopeless. I must have been watching the news or something. And then I stopped myself right away and I remembered that there are you people out there, and we are not the only Sangha. We are not the only people who believe what we believe. And that's just, it's so comforting to know that there are lots of other people just like us who gather, maybe not on a Saturday morning, maybe it's a Wednesday afternoon, or however it is that they gather and generate, this beautiful, positive energy. So it isn't hopeless. We're going to be okay.
Yeah.
Going to be okay.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. And here's my problem with that statement.
Of course.
Don't you dare tell me we're not going to be okay, Bart.
Okay. Can you
I'm
see
gonna
Jesus?
leave.
Can you see Jesus up on the cross going, it's all going to be okay? Okay. What I want is the capacity when I'm dangling off a cross to go, Father, into thy hands I commend my spirit, to have that deep level of moment, even if that moment is, my God, why hast thou forsaken me? Hopelessness, even in that act, that transforms that hopelessness into something different.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay is an ego concept you're facing. Okay. What does okay mean? Does okay mean okay from the viewpoint of the universe? I guarantee you everything is going to be okay. From the viewpoint of my ego, no guarantee. That regardless what I do or don't,
not going to be okay. It is okay.
It is.
Yep.
It is
It is.
exactly
It just
okay.
is.
So, that's a false hope. And Brother David Steindl-Rast says, when all hope has been destroyed, what's left is true hope.
Yeah. Yeah.
Really grok that,
Yeah,
okay?
good.
That because hope is an ego thing, and real hope has to be embedded in what is, or it's not hope. It's not authentic.
Good.
The point is that when I am in a settled place, I'm more likely to find that, because I'm not being distracted by looking for something. I can see what is and move out. So just notice in time, who is the person who finds the way out? The person trying to desperately to find a way out, or the person who's looking around and present and sees options? That's the only leg up you get, is a half-second difference and an ability to see clear, clear thinking, not clouded by ego or past, but to see what is. That's where skillful action emerges from. On that note,
Okay.
please.
All right. To be continued.
Please.
Deep breath in.
Shake it off. There he is. Love you all.
Love you too.
Thanks so much, everybody.
Have a great weekend. Bye, guys.
Thank
Thanks.
you. You too. Get you
Bye.
feeling better.
Matthew, thank you
It's
for
already
opening
gone,
everything
baby.
up.
I
You
have
guys
my
do
ballot
wonders
right
for
here,
me.
but I'm undecided.
What?
God damn it, Brad.
Grandpa.
Great day.
Yeah. You look like a Jedi tonight. Either that or a sand person. I'm not sure which, Brad.
I like it.
No.
Bye-bye. Love you all.
Bye.